Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of American Heroes Outdoors. We're in northern Minnesota at High Banks Resort on Lake Winnibigoshish, and we're going to spend some time with the Carlton County Disabled American Veterans. This is a group of veterans that comes each year to come out here for camaraderie and to go fishing. We're going to meet some of those veterans and the great people that run their organization and the great folks here at High Banks Resort. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Throughout history, brave men and women have answered their nation's call to serve. Heroes who have put their life on the line for each other and our freedoms. These are their stories.
American Heroes Outdoors is brought to you by SCHEELS, Disabled American Veterans of Minnesota, Smoky Hills Outdoor Store, Gate City Bank, Skeeter Boats and Yamaha Outboards, Yamaha Power Products, Woodland Resort, S&S Promotional Group, Wheelers Point Resort, and Ice Castle Fish Houses.
Hey everybody, good morning from Lake Winnibigoshish. Here we are, we're headed out this morning. We got three vets with us. Guys, introduce yourselves.
Larry Sell from Mattawa, Minnesota.
John Blanchard from Cloquet. Richard Poole from Cloquet.
Well, these guys are from, obviously from Northeast Minnesota and part of their DAV group, Disabled American Veterans. We're gonna go out and try to catch some pike this morning. The lake's been a little tough for walleyes, but we're gonna pull crankbaits right away. And generally when you pull crankbaits, it's kind of a multi-species morning. So it's gonna be a little choppy out here and windy, but these guys can handle it. They're all vets, all Vietnam vets, Korea War vet, and two Vietnam War vets. So we're gonna go out and see if we can load up some big old northerns in the boat this morning. So we're gonna use a couple of different baits. This is a number 9 flicker minnow. That is a Berkeley.
This is the DAV group out of Cloquet. Started coming here about 5 years ago. Kim and I realized the sacrifices that every veteran has gone through. We know that PTSD is a big thing, and that's one of the things that Kim and I just try and help people that have seen things that we haven't seen and just help it clear their mind a little bit. Just give them a few days, if it's all it is. Just a few days to see, just to open up and smile and see that happiness come about. It's well worth it.
I got out of high school in 1963, and I was working summer jobs with a construction company, a road building outfit. And then March 1st, I got my draft notice for a physical down in Minneapolis. And the Air Force recruiter was there recruiting like you wouldn't believe. Next thing you know, on Friday the 13th, March, I was on my way to San Antonio.
12-pounder, huh?
I'm gonna be standing up in front of the group tonight on this one.
Feels pretty good.
He's pretty good. I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be I hope it's a walleye. That's what I hope of it. Well, you know, it fought nice. I was hoping it'd be a walleye, but it's a northern. Maybe it's a keeper, right? In 1965, a friend of mine came back from TDY in Vietnam, and I said, hey, I'm single. That sounds exciting. So I put in for Vietnam, and they sent me to Guam. And I came back, and I said, I gotta go to Vietnam. And I got my orders. I went there in July of '66, and when I got there, I was at Tan Son Nhut Air Force Base. But when I landed, I saw something that was really kind of sit in my mind for a long time, and that was, there was a semi-truck there loaded with bodies in black bags in tubes going on a C-141 refrigeration plane for Dover Air Force Base. It really shook me up because I said, man, what did we really get into? I'm telling my buddies, you know, you got a bite there, Johnny?
You might have missed it. Just a second. He hit it hard and then easy, nice and easy. It's not a race. Not a race. We'll net this one.
Don't horse it in case it's a big one.
I'd like to see one walleye. That's what I'd really like to see. Oh, he's a jumper. Northern, pike. Yeah, he's not hooked very good either. Pull your line straight up. Yeah. All right, you can go ahead and get that guy back out. We'll get this guy measured. 23. Yeah. Another one for the grow up.
We'll get your smaller cousin.
Or your bigger cousin.
I did a lot of convoy driving on Highway 1 between Natrang, Cameron Bay, and Fan Rang. This was basically my run. I never went north too much. The country, it was safe and it wasn't safe. Time in Vietnam that I spent, I had a couple instances downtown that they were not good. The white mice were what we call the white mice. They're the ones that were the cops. And we got hooked up with a gang one night, and the results were not good, but you know, those are things that you live with when you go back and you think, you know, what happened.
You know, there's a lot of regulations you have to watch when you're fishing some of these lakes up here in northern Minnesota. And on this lake right now, for northerns, and that's what we're fishing this morning, is we're fishing pike. Everything between 22 and 26 has to go back in the lake. You can keep up to 10 northerns, but they gotta be under 22, and only 2 of them can be over 26. And that's so they can create a spawning population of fish.
We got a fish here.
Yep, you sure do. Box here. Okay, here you go. Right straight in, you'll be just fine.
You know, the war was going on. They didn't want to ruin the morale of the troops with what was going back in the States. We heard very little of what was going back until we got back, and then we really realized that things weren't so good back here.
Nice and easy. He's fighting, yeah, he's fighting. He's a little bigger one.
It's at least a 12 pounder.
At least a 12 pounder, he's calling it. Might not be quite that big.
I was enrolled to go to college. I had a small football scholarship out at Allendale State. And I went by the city hall, and there's 2 state patrol cars parked there. And I turned around and I said, you know, I should talk to those guys. Because I had heard something on the radio earlier that day that October 13th was the last day to sign up for the civil service exam. They took the application down to the airport. Postmaster stamped it before midnight, and everything went bing, 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 and I started on the state patrol.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's 12 pounds, but he's a little nicer than the last one. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Pull him over this way a little bit, and I got him.
Did you see that flawless execution? I mean, just picture perfect.
Oh, 25.
I put 25 years in Cloquet, and the last 15 years I worked with Rick Bloom, 291. I was 379. And I couldn't have had a better partner because we're both German, both bullheaded, and but we get along together.
Well, I joined the Army in December of 1958, and I left for active duty on January the first part of January of 1959. Then I was assigned to a military police detachment in Nashville, Tennessee in the winter of 1959, and then I came down on orders for Korea. I spent just about 23 months in Korea. I started for the Highway Patrol in 1969 after graduating from what we refer to as rookie school. After the schooling, they took and rated you. And of course, if you were a veteran, I got veterans preference. I used my veterans preference, and I make no qualms about it.
So he's 25, he's in the enclosed slot, so we have to throw that one back. Okay, so that's a 25-incher.
A friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, his name was Ted Erickson, a fine young man that went through the Vietnam experience. He was very active in the DAV, and he always told me, he said, look, Rick, he said, you're a veteran. He said, why don't you come and join? I have to say, in retrospect, it was probably one of the best things I ever done is when I got involved with the DAV. I think the DAV is the best organization out there for any veteran of any branch of service, no matter if you've been in combat or not, you know, no matter if you've been, you know, stateside all your career or if you've been in Timbuktu for 18 tours.
Yep, you can start reeling that one in. That's got a fish on it. Yeah, he's a good one too, huh?
We had a call the other day, an Iraqi vet, young kid, nice kid, fell asleep after his job, 12 hours working, totaled his car. Called my son Jeff, who was the Marine, who's a California high patrolman on a motorcycle out of LA. He says, Dad, he says, can you help this Jordan out? Is he a DAV member? I knew he wasn't. He said, I'm sure he isn't, he says. Well, I says, tell him you are and tell him the benefits of becoming a DAV member, and I says, we'll get him a vehicle.
We got a nice fish coming in. Hopefully it's going to be a walleye.
Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Yep, pull it out of the water, keep reeling. Okay, stop.
So whose vehicle does he get? Rick Bloom gave a nice Dodge pickup to the DAV for veterans to use, in need. Well, there's a young kid in need. He's just buying a house, and now he totaled his vehicle out. And he'll get something for it. But the thing of it is, he's got a truck to use to get to work right away. And that's what this is all about. Help your fellow veteran. There's a lot of us, like me, I don't need any help. I need to help veterans that need the help.
Not hooked very good either. 12-pounder, a little shy. Just a little shy of 12. Man, we can't catch one to keep. That's a 24 and a half. Well, we're heading back in. It's been a really interesting day. These guys are so full of stories. Fishing was tough. We ended up with 11 pike today. We have 2 that we can actually clean. The rest were in that protected slot range, but missed a few. The guy behind me likes to miss them. Rick, he likes to get them on, then fight him for a little while, then just kind of let them go. He says he's a catch and release guy. I'm not sure if he's pulling my leg, but you know what? He's a Korean War vet, and I'll take him at his word that he's just letting them go for my pleasure.
Now it's time for the SCHEELS Hometown Hero.
Welcome to SCHEELS Hometown Heroes.
SCHEELS Hometown Heroes is a way for us to say thanks
to those that serve our country and our community
and are still giving back to others today.
We honor your service by sharing your stories.
From all of us at SCHEELS, thank you for your service.
Hi everyone, my name is Keith Samuelson with SCHEELS in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Today we're out at Rice Creek Hunting Preserve to highlight and honor our next SCHEELS hometown hero, Alex Steinemann. Nice work, guys.
Born and raised Little Falls, lived here my whole life. I actually just recently moved to Rice about 3 years ago. Still really local, still work out at camp.
Did you go into the service right out of school?
About 2 years after, 2010.
Okay.
Yep.
Army?
Yep.
Awesome.
Army National Guard.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yep.
Where have you served or where have you been deployed?
Deployed to Kuwait, there for about 11 and a half months. We ran missions through Iraq, kind of bring everything home.
The reason why I nominated Alex is because he's just an awesome human being. He's the type of person that would take the shirt off his back and give it to absolutely anybody. He's one of them guys that you've known him for 10 minutes and you want to be best friends with him. Outstanding human being and a great judge and character. I enlisted back in 2012, and for the first 4.5 years of my contract, I served with him in the same unit. And then I got my E5 and transferred to our sister company, still served with him for another 2 years, so about 6 years total. And then I moved on and he moved on.
Drop it. Okay.
That a girl, good. I got to be Alex's platoon sergeant for a while, and so every year we would do a draft and we would kind of pick the guys that we wanted, and so he was always my #1 choice, and that way I could have him as my gunner in my tank. And so being in the same crew, it's great. As the platoon sergeant, I've got so many other things to do, and Alex was always the one kind of running our crew, so he would make sure that everyone did everything they needed to do, the tank was ready to go, and that basically I didn't have to worry about anything, that I knew that things were just getting done.
So I was a driver of these Cayman MRAPs, big trucks, up armored, just convoy security. Again, running routes all day long. It was about a week on, week off. I think we ran like 56 submissions. My main responsibility was the truck, just take care of it, make sure air in the tires, oil in the engine, so on and so forth. Yeah, I actually ended up putting on the most miles in the battalion. That was kind of a cool feat.
He's always happy and smiling. He's like very easy to talk to. People always go to him. He's also been nominated for like Soldier of the Year. He was nominated to go and hold the flag at the Bank Stadium. He's just easy, like I said, to talk to, and he's one of those people that would do something for you even if you wouldn't do it for him.
Any moment in the military is a chance to learn, even from your leadership. Respect your leadership at all times. You're going to have good leaders and you're going to have bad leaders. And you can do two things from it. You can just ignore it or you can learn from it. So always take that in and just try to develop yourself off of who guides you through your career. Always show respect, do your job. It's too easy to do the right thing.
I learned a lot of my leadership traits through Alex. He's definitely one of them people that is slow to speak but quick to listen. And I believe that is a great attribute that I kind of have tried to obtain myself. I'm very happy that he got to go out on this pheasant hunt with us today, because he absolutely deserved it. He's the type of person that says, no, let somebody else have it. They deserve it more, but he deserved this one. So it was just awesome being able to see somebody that is just an awesome human being get to experience such a fun time pheasant hunting.
Hey everybody, good morning. Day 2 up at High Banks Resort here at Lake Winnibigoshish. And as usual, when you come up north in Minnesota, the weather's going to throw you some kind of a loop. Had a big front come through, and now we went from a south wind to a direct northwest wind.
I first met Colonel Scott St. Sauver at a military-themed fishing tournament and got to talking to him. My father was a Vietnam veteran from 1962 to 66, served in the Navy. I never served, and I still have a big passion for the veterans and trying to give back any way I can.
Well, this weekend we have our chapter, Carlton County DAV Chapter 18. We're up here at Lake Winnibigoshish. We are having a great team building, camaraderie, family building, a thank you gift to all our volunteers.
Another keeper walleye. Nice job. Thank you. 2 keepers now. Way to go, getting lunch.
We got started with this event probably 6 years ago. We started off at Veterans on the Lake, and then we found out that Scott, the colonel, he had started this event up here at Winnibigoshish. It's a great team building event. You get to meet the guide, you get to have camaraderie with the person that you're with that you don't know on that much of a personal level, because you don't get to go and enjoy this stuff that we are so fortunate enough to be able to do.
There you go. Oh, there he is. Oh, big pike. Okay, slow down, slow down. That's a big pike. There, no, not, ah! That was probably 32, 34 inches.
Our chapter is probably one of the most active DAV chapters in the state. We do a brat stand 4 times a year, 2 days for those 4 times. We have a rummage sale that we do. We collect our boxes for savers and earn money that way. And it's a thank you gift for all of our members that volunteer so many hours to benefit the veterans that need help in our county. In appreciation, we do an event like this where they get to come out and have just a wonderful time and get that camaraderie built.
I see color.
The dip up.
Oh, nice walleye. Let's just swing him into the boat. There we go. That's a keeper. Okay, I'll get a quick measure of it. I believe this is gonna be a keeper. 16 3/4. Got a nice keeper.
Well, this is our 4th year hosting the DAV, Chapter 18 out of Carlton, Minnesota. Each year it has grown in size, and this year we are at 34 veterans with 10 fishing guides. It is such a blessing to be able to put this together, and believe me, it takes months and months of planning, but to be able to see the smiles on their faces, it just like makes it all come together, and it's just so rewarding.
Hey everybody, end of day 2 up here at High Banks Resort on Lake Winnibigoshish, and what a day. Lots of rain last night, lots of wind today. Fishing was tough today, but we ended up with some beautiful walleye, some great pike, and some very, very happy veterans. So that's what this was all about, happy veterans, getting them out together talking. I had another group in the boat today that I just thoroughly enjoyed. So stay tuned for next week, and we hope to see you soon.
American Heroes Outdoors is brought to you by SCHEELS, Disabled American Veterans of Minnesota, Smoky Hills Outdoor Store, Gate City Bank, Skeeter Boats and Yamaha Outboards, Yamaha Power Products, Woodland Resort, S&S Promotional Group, Wheelers Point Resort, and Ice Castle Fish Houses.